Let's take a look at the pragerU.
No period of history is more misunderstood or underappreciated than the Middle Ages. The 10 centuries from the fall of the Roman Empire in the 5th century to the start of the Renaissance in the 15th. This is especially true between the year 1000, when global warming brought grapes to England and grain to the coasts of Greenland, doubling the population and reviving town life all across Europe, and 1348, after the warming had ended and the Black Death arrived from the east. Let's take a closer look at these years. We'll make a good start by dispelling some nonsense. The people of the Middle Ages did not believe the earth was flat. They knew it was round. The ancients said it was round.
Okay, that's not false. He's right about that.
Fathers of the church.
He's literally not wrong about that. This might be the only factually correct take in a pragerU video ever.
Said it was round. They saw its shadow during an eclipse of the moon, and the shadow was round. They saw masks of ships sinking below the horizon.
Wait, that's very confusing. This is literally the first time when pragerU is correct about something.
More nonsense. The Middle Ages were cheerless. Quite the reverse. They were full of color, of celebrations involving everybody in town. They invented the carnival. They revived popular drama, which had lain dormant for 1,000 years. Whatever they did, whether it was sinning or fighting or repenting or falling in love or traveling thousands of miles to Rome or to the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, they did it with energy and gusto.
What?
What do we owe to the Middle?
So they walked around, so it wasn't as bad, dude? What? Is it just walking, dude? I'm just walking and I'm marching with energy and gusto, dude.
The chat doesn't send you funny TTS, but how would you know when you consistently Dono wall us? Like right now I'm being Dono walled, bro, you're not listening. This could be the funniest TTS ever and you wouldn't know.
This is true.
Middle Ages. How about the...
This is so disingenuous. So many historians have argued that Europe wasn't dark during the Middle Ages. I don't give a fuck what these inbred conservative fascists think.
Medieval man invented it. For the first time in the history of the world, you could go to Paris or Bologna or Padua or Oxford or Prague or Cologne and study under masters of law, medicine, philosophy, and theology, and your degree designating you as a man.
Bitch, who? Like, yeah, if you fucking owned shit, what do you mean, dude? Dude. Yeah, no. Oh, it wasn't a Dark Ages because, you know, everyone was just traveling around doing carnivals and learning law, medicine, philosophy, dude. What the fuck? What? This is so good.
Master or a doctor would hold good anywhere in Europe. It was an international community of scholars. A young Thomas Aquinas, born in southern Italy at the beginning of the 13th century, would travel to Cologne to study philosophy under the philosopher-biologist Albert the Great, then to Paris, where he taught theology and philosophy, then to Rome and back to France. And this sort of thing was the rule among scholars, not the exception. How about modern science? Thomas's teacher, Albert, was a biologist. Why should that surprise us? Medieval man believed that God made the world as an ordered whole. They learned it both from scripture and from pagan thinkers such as Aristotle. Science did not burst on the scene with Galileo. Copernicus died.
Yeah, fuck Galileo, dude. All my homies hate Galileo. That bitch. Fucking, how dare they shit on the church, dude? Yo, fuck you. The church was leading the science. Is this back when pragerU was a real university? No, they were never a real university. These people jerk off 800-year-old philosophers and they say you wasted your degree if it's not fucking construction. Also true.
in the 16th century, but he was a priest astronomer at a Polish university founded in the Middle Ages. He wasn't even the first man to suggest that the Earth orbited the sun. Others had ventured the suggestion. Most prominent was the late medieval Nicholas of Cusa, a philosopher and a cardinal in the church. How about architecture? If the Middle Ages were dark and ignorant, how come ordinary people, masons, carpenters, painters, sculptors, glazers, erected the most beautiful and majestic buildings to grace the earth, the Gothic cathedrals, without power tools, with pulleys and winches and scaffolding in their bare hands? They built up lacework in stone and glass, flooding vast interior spaces with color and light. We have nothing to match their complexity and beauty. And art? Studying the ancients, medieval...
Dude, I feel like every time pragerU talks about history, I don't know why it feels like they're justifying it. Like, am I crazy? I mean, I guess people say the same thing about me whenever I talk about, like, I don't know, Ottoman history and shit. So maybe I'm like I feel like they're overlooking a big chunk of history when they are making it seem as though like everybody was just like living and fucking and roaming and walking and building cathedrals. Also, notice how like in this timeline I like that there was a point in time where he starts off by saying the fall of Rome, or at least like, you know, the eastern, or not eastern, sorry, the Western Roman Empire as we know it, and not the Greek Orthodox Byzantine Empire. And then he jumps directly to here. Like I feel like there was a big chunk that he just skipped over, hard skipped, and was like, you know, Thomas Aquinas and Nicholas of Cusa and cathedrals. Like, what happened in between that area? Like I feel like there was some time there that you just kind of hard skipped all the way to like the 1400s. With
better be described as the brilliant.
Did you even watch the video? He wasn't super detailed, but he definitely talked about it.
Ages, a startling epic of progress from science to art, from philosophy to medicine. Indeed, in one crucial way, we are less civilized than those who enhanced human existence over 1,000 years ago. We dismiss the achievements of our ancestors and fall short of them. They honored their ancestors and surpassed them.
What? I did a little research, and I think the amount I've done has allowed me to say that there's a real academic debate about the Dark Ages. I think we shouldn't watch pragerU Psychos and maybe watch somebody else. Literally everything he's talking about is just before the Renaissance. No fucking shit. They got better at stuff literally after 1,000 years. Yeah. That's what I said, and people got mad at me originally. And of course, like, listen, Dark Ages is a Eurocentric approach. It's not fucking Dark Ages for anywhere else, as what was my take as well. But look, if you have a counter to that, and if you're going to tell me that after the fall of the Roman Empire, that society still advanced at a similar clip in Europe, and maybe I'm totally wrong on it because you were making it seem as though I was, then I'm willing to be open-minded about it. I get your meme trying to deconstruct the fascist ideas of Europe being some bastion of civilization anyways, but the European Dark Ages are a construct that's pretty disputed by historians as being relevant.
We've all heard of the term Dark Ages, that medieval period in which all learning stopped and everything became terrible. It's a term attributed to Petrarch, who, like later Renaissance thinkers, thought that the Middle Ages were...
Look, this also doesn't mean that, like, that during the Islamic Golden Age, like, everything was poggers in the Muslim world, or that the Asian empires were always super advanced or anything like that. It's just that society didn't necessarily evolve as fast as it did, as it did under the Roman Empire.
Were a period of
that was my
darkness
point.
in comparison to the classical period from before and the Renaissance after. So just to let you know,
You only care about the Dark Ages being important because you want the Byzantine Empire to be legit strong in order for the Ottoman achievement of taking it over to sound more grand? No, dude. That's so dumb. No.
definition of dark
Like, if anything, you could make the argument that, like, the Byzantines got fucking owned at the tail end. Like, it's not an accomplishment. The true accomplishment is how long they fucking survived, despite being surrounded. So,
Dark Ages has changed since the days of Petrarch. Nowadays it's a very specific term, but be aware that Dark Ages isn't synonymous with Middle Ages. It refers exclusively to Western Europe in the couple of centuries following the collapse of the Roman Empire. Of course, The question is, how true is the commonly held vision of this period? Were the Dark Ages really that dark and unenlightened? Well, in a word, no. In a sentence, not really, but also a little bit, depending on where and where you're talking about. So Western Europe had largely been united under the rule of the Roman Empire, and after its collapse it was divided into competing realms. There's obviously too many to speak of in any sort of detail, so we'll pick two extremes and compare them. The former province of Italia and that of Britannia, whose experiences of the Dark Ages are proof that they weren't quite as awful as is often made out to be. So in Britannia, after the Romans left...
Bro, the dude who was like, "You're fucking wrong," literally sent me this video, and the video is basically saying exactly what I said.
Things went really well. Just kidding, they fell apart almost immediately. Things like a coin-based economy, urban living, and literacy died out there within a generation. Whereas in places like the Ostrogothic Kingdom, which occupied the former province of Italia and then some, very little changed. And whilst yes, it did now have a Germanic ruler, King Theodoric, he swore fealty to the Roman Emperor in the east. The Senate continued to meet in Rome and the Pope's rights were respected, although the official church of the Ostrogoths was centred in Ravenna. As for urban living, the number of people in towns and cities had declined massively in most places. Rome's population had declined from roughly 1 million people in the 3rd century to about 50,000 during the Ostrogothic period. But what about the peasantry? How did life change for them after Rome had gone? Well, frankly, not very much. Most people were born, lived and died working as agricultural labourers on the same farm as their forebears had. Localised famines were also much more common and couldn't be alleviated by a centralised authority, meaning that local starvation was much more common. This largely went away in Ostrogothic Italy when it was conquered in the 6th century by the Eastern Roman Empire, known then as the Roman Empire, which undermines Petrarch's notion of the post-Roman world being an unenlightened one because the Romans never went away. The Dark Ages did see many intellectual achievements though. Monasteries like Lindis...
It's like, when you wanna say that the Roman Empire was ended by the Ottomans, that's not true because that was the Byzantines. When you want to defend the Dark Ages as not being so dark, then no, the Byzantines are Romans, so they never actually went away. Technically, both is literally true, the main distinction being religion or whatever religious sect you have. But you do hear, you're seeing people play fast and loose with the Roman distinction there for sure. Roman Empire was dope though, for sure. I mean,
Isfahan and Monk Wearmouth Jarrow produced great historians like Bede. In the Ostrogothic Kingdom, Boethius wrote the Consolation of Philosophy, which is one of the most important medieval texts ever written. And in terms of architecture, buildings like Theodoric's Mausoleum are testament to the fact that in the Dark Ages, things weren't as dark as they may seem. I hope you enjoyed this episode and thank you for...
That was it? Okay, we're done.